what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now, we're currently joined by both Discord and Google Plus Hangouts on air, but before we cut to those, before I set up for the live show, I'm going to shout out my Patreon. So big shout out to Alistair and Dank. Big shout out to both of you. Shout out to David Wayne Foster for supporting me on Patreon. Thank you very much indeed. Also, shout out to Godrockin. Thank you very much for your support. Big shout out to Jeranism. Thank you very much for supporting me on Patreon. Also, Kirsten Smith. Thank you very much. Matt, thank you very much. Michael, thank you very much. Paige, big shout out to you for supporting me on Patreon. Renee, Sam Hine, and last but by no means least, Tina Baker. Thanks to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Your support is very much greatly appreciated. So what I'm going to do now, as I say, is raise the mic on both the Discord and Google Plus Hangouts on air, and you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever is in there while I set up for the next live show.
Remains. What is the force behind this pressure?
Gas wanting to expand in all directions.
Not acceptable, Arwin. What is the force? You cannot have a pressure without a force.
Gas pressure expansion.
Arwin, you're begging the question.
No, I'm not.
Okay, gas pressure is real. It's real. Let's go with the real belief that it's real. But now we need to know, what is the cause of this force? How is this force? What is the force, and how is this happening?
Cause of this force.
Or is it just our religious belief that we just believe a force manifests out of nowhere?
Doesn't the temperature make the
crazy
gas
one, right?
expand and
I'm
stuff?
the crazy one who doesn't understand these things, but I should just accept a force we cannot reconcile.
Really? So you have the false belief that a force must be present at all time?
Oh, so you can have pressure without a force. Again, it gets even more better. A sponge can squeeze itself pressure with no force. Great. We're going to look even more intelligent, aren't we?
Oh,
saying,
why don't you speak for yourself first? No, don't use me in my presence. Thank you very much, Mr.
Oh, we used our mind to squeeze the sponge. That was the force.
Can't go anymore.
Yeah. So we need to revise what we think pressure is. Yeah, and again, if
wire yourself.
I'm not going to be in that camp where people say there is pressure without a force. That's what the ball earthers do. They say there's
a in fantasy line.
Can I describe the force to you? And then hopefully we can draw a line under this and not have any more talk of it.
Okay, what's that force?
Okay. But it requires, unlike at the end of the last show, that you actually accept that gas is a thing.
I have to accept something.
That gas is real.
Okay, gas is real.
Okay, excellent. Right, so there are particles that are moving in all directions. That's gas. We've got that acceptance. Great, that's under our belt. We can put that in the bank. Marvellous. Right, given that they are little bits of stuff, yeah, I'm going to scale up those bits of stuff to the size of a beach ball, right? And I'm going to throw the beach ball at a wall, and it's going to bounce off it. And you can measure the pressure of that ball hitting the wall. Are you with me so far with my...
Yeah, so if the wall had a pressure pad, that could measure how much pressure is being hit by the ball. Yes.
Correct. So gas, which is also stuff, just much, 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 much smaller than a ball, but each individual bit of it, to keep it nice and simple, is like a ball. It's expanding in all directions and eventually hits stuff.
No, if the atmosphere is like light or an ether, not a solid substance like you're describing, then no, it wouldn't do that.
Okay,
how could it?
Spurs.
And also,
Spurs. So kettle boil. Spurs. So you got kettle, and it boils. and out of it comes gas. It's stuff, you can see it. Water vapor, right? You understand that. You can see it, you can quantify it, you can appreciate what it is. You were taught it in school, you know what it is. It's a gas. And it's expanding. It's still stuff. It really is, Spurs. It's genuinely there. And when it strikes something, you can quantify that mathematically with a number arbitrarily applied. Simple.
No, I disagree. Any gases that are expelled will go up, and then obviously there would be a cause for them to move in the lateral direction. So they wouldn't just move to the left, to the right, just like that. They would just go straight up. And obviously, if they go straight up, you're suggesting that they hit a solid dome. That doesn't. How do we know that happens? These particles would be even static until someone like you or me start to breathe them in. So they're just here in front of you. They're doing nothing until something like wind or a car goes past, or a person is there to actually breathe those particles in to make them move. That's when they start acting. They don't just start moving around like the show on a computer, like in Willy Wonka, or the particles just flying around in some random. Where do we see that? We see that particles like smoke and temperature, they rise up. They go straight up. To what, we don't know.
No, Spurs. Again, you boil your kettle, you watch it come out of its source and expand in all directions and dissipate into the air. Doesn't hang around like a little strip of rope that you can grab hold of. It just dissipates. And that stuff that's come out of the kettle is going to press on other stuff. And when it does, you can quantify the amount of force that's applied. It's just that simple. You can deny this all you like. I want to draw a line under it. I don't want the entire show to be talking about the very, very basic nature of gas. I just don't want to do it, Spurs. Please.
Well, just let me say one last thing then. What you're describing is water pressure. When those particles leave and hit the pressure sensor, you're sensing how much water has hit the particle. Any atmosphere within that steam, as you're describing, will not be registered. You will not pick up any atmosphere pressure, only water pressure.
So you accept that there's atmospheric pressure then?
No, there is no atmospheric pressure.
You just described pressure. It. You literally just... Spurs, I don't want to do this. This is getting really frustrating. Can we just draw a line under this subject for now?
At that. My view is that you are registering only water pressure, not atmosphere, not air, not what you breathe in. You're not registering any kind of...
Yes, it's an equivalence, Spurs. Yes, I understand your objection. And I'm using something that you can see to make an equivalence with gas. Now, while we can't see oxygen and hydrogen, the principle is the same. It is real. Now, if you just want to deny that we have these fundamental building blocks of life, then fine. I just don't want to do it for the entire next live show.
No, it's fine. It's your belief, and it's my understanding of what I can demonstrate. We can't argue over beliefs, so that's fine.
You can take every bit of the atmosphere singly, like the oxygen and the hydrogen, the helium, whatever, put it separately and put more of just that one thing and see how much the pressure is. Like, it's just because they're all mixed together and you can't see them doesn't mean they're not there. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can put helium into a balloon.
What you're saying, but I mean, again, I spend a lot of time with Boyle Earthers, as you know, and this is what they say to me all the time. We can see it, we do it, we've got it, we have it. You just don't want to believe. You just deny it. And I'm like, well, where's the demonstration? Oh, well, go away. You just don't want to understand. And this is the same thing that's happening right now. There is a belief that there is a pressure, but we can't demonstrate, we can't feel it, but we just apply a number to it, 14.7, and say, yeah, there's your pressure, with no force.
I'll tell you what, it was a good move you joining the panel today, because if you would have joined in Discord, you'd have been out of there in a New York minute.
Right, promise
just want
me
to
this.
say that there, Spurs.
When we start the live show, there's a reasonable size. We've got 10th man, Chocolate, Page, Spurs, and Adam may or may not come to his mic. I'd like to actually get through the housekeeping questions without it being completely hijacked about your understandings of gas and how it presses on stuff.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, again, it's fine. It was just a question. It hasn't been demonstrated. I'm not going to keep repeating the same thing over and over again. That would be madness, right? So yeah.
You're a moron! Okay? I can't say it any more clearly. I'm sorry.
Sounds tasty.
Sorry about that.
So is that an agreement, Spurs? Maybe ask a housekeeping question that's not related to gas pressure without a container.
No, it's fine. Like I say, I mean, for me, I'm just looking. Again, I'm not going to pressure or push it. It's fine. We don't have to talk about it anymore. That's it. There are many of the
Try and
things.
think of an experiment to do, Spurs.
Please,
Yeah, we can
please,
agree.
please don't.
We won't have
Please
to talk about.
Please don't. He already said he's not going to talk about it anymore. Please,
Yeah.
for the love of God,
for the distance to the sun,
for everything sacred and holy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get an agreement that you won't do this, and as soon as I do get it and actually believe that that's going to be the case, I'll start the next live show. But at the moment, Spurs, it's just like the entire live show is going to be crapped up with this.
Yes. How many times do you want me to say yes? I've just said I'm not going to discuss it. There's no point in going on over and over again, right? Okay.
Yeah, but then you applied your caveats, which is to say that we've got a belief that we can't show and demonstrate.
any evidence for the distance of the sun?
We haven't started the live show yet.
Let's just leave it, Nathan. And again, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. We won't talk about it. That's all.
Ooh. Do I trust him?
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join this discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by 10th Man, Spurs Schemo, Paige, Flatzoid, Adam Meakin, Chocolate Saying. I'll get a hello from the people in Discord next, but hello to all the people in Google+.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good morning.
Morning. And we are also joined by a whole bunch of people in Discord, so let's bring that up and say hello to the people in there. Hello, Billy, Dougie, Earth-Shaped Investigator, EL, Goon Investigator, Slayer of Prey, Cyrix, and Thunderbuddy and Woz. Hello to all of you.
Hola.
Hello.
Well, hello. Anybody want to kick us off with some housekeeping questions? Don't all go at once.
How do we have gas pressure without a container?
Can't. Violation of a law of nature. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
It's as far away here as it is there, so.
Far away,
No.
you say? That sounds like a quantification of distance to me. How do you know such things?
It's just as far.
Literally right over my head right now.
It's under my bum then.
Oh, of course, of course.
Mm.
Not without affirming the consequent.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Moving on.
And signs of axial rotation.
Of the Earth-based variety.
Again, not without affirming the consequent.
Not here.
And was it R value?
No, no evidence of the R value, I'm afraid.
Evidence of the R value? No?
Nothing.
Oh. No, there's nothing at this end of the world either.
Any curve on this ball? This presupposed ball? Curvature? Needs some curvature for a ball, right? Last time I checked.
It'd be handy.
No signs of Earth curve, I'm afraid, Chocolate. Sorry. Don't know, maybe someone in Discord can help us out.
No, they're going with the level curve. There is no curve. It's a level curve.
Oh,
Thanks.
I forgot that. That's what's up in 2019. Level curves.
Oh.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? I always hold out hope for this one. Hey, Paul.
Hello. Did you finally resolve that with Spurs?
Oh, we've got him to concede in the pre-show that he wouldn't bring it up. Thanks, Paul.
He was cracking me up, and I was trying to listen.
We're in peace talks.
Sleeping dogs, Paul. Sleeping dogs.
Spurs right now.
Sleeping dogs, my friend.
Yeah, I'm out and about today. We're celebrating the 4th today, so that's why I'm in and out.
Yeah, we don't celebrate that here.
Why not? Why don't you celebrate our independence? Why don't you celebrate it? Come on.
Independence from what now?
This English rule that we had.
It's a dark day here.
That's hilarious.
So instead of the 4th of July, it's the 4th of deny kind of thing.
No, what? It just goes completely unmentioned here.
I got you.
Did we conclude
Don't shoot
housekeeping?
too many fireworks, Paul.
Did we conclude housekeeping?
Don't go
Was that
crazy.
it? Is that it for housekeeping? Was there any other questions? I think that's it, isn't it?
Gravity?
Oh yeah, any scientific evidence of gravity? Got a whole panel full of people in Discord.
Scientific evidence of what?
Oh come on, Discord. We want to have a good laugh at it's a force, but you can think of it as a force and all these good japes. Come on. Play ball.
Professor Dave thinks it's a force. He just put out a video saying it was.
Professor who?
You know that Professor Dave idiot, the one that does all the debunking videos?
I don't.
I think he was having a go at Sleeping Warrior because he's carrying on about how buoyancy and density are not a force, but gravity is.
I know not of this Professor Dave. I'll have to ask Sleeping Warrior about it if it's some bear he's been poking. I don't tend to pay attention, I've got to be honest. I vaguely know who all these people are. I can't remember in yesterday's pre-show someone was asking me about Sean Hawkins, and it's like, I know him because I've seen a snip out from Jose where he's, and you're going to have to excuse my swearing, but him shouting, "Shut the fuck up!" at Rumpus.
Oh, yeah, Sean Hawkins is charming. He's just such a lovely person. Oh.
Yeah,
I've got a
gold.
discussion.
Go ahead.
I've been bringing it up. I've been bringing it up here and there, but I don't know if anybody's ever caught it. But if you have energy or force, you have to have energy, right? John, would I be right in that? I know the Newtonian thing might come into play here, but isn't it usually some kind of force equivalent with some kind of energy as well? You have to have energy to have a force. Anybody?
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
no, maybe.
You want to get this train wreck back on the rails with Spurs, don't you? I can just sense it, Paul.
Do what now?
You're trying to get this train wreck back on the rails.
Exactly. So, and I've been saying this for several days now, trying to say, look, even in a pressurized system, there has to be energy implied. So even if there's gravity, there has to be an energy implied. If you're going to say there's some kind of force, the question is, where is that energy coming from? Either way, I'm not even saying either direction. You just got to have energy at some. If you have force, you have to have energy. Where's that energy coming from?
Maybe that's evidence of the
Now,
ether.
I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. But see, I don't know if that is
Who knows?
ether. I don't know if that's you have to unpack that because I don't make that claim. I'm just saying, like I've said this before, compressor system. Like I was driving over here to we're at the grocery store, and obviously we're running the air conditioner. Well, there's the equivalence between pressure and temperature is very evident because you use a compressor to compress the gas, which heats up the gas, and then you blow air across it to reduce the temperature of the gas. But you still have the pressure. The temperature is reduced, but the pressure is still there. And that's what causes the cooling effect inside of a vehicle. So, but there's energy being introduced in that system by the compressor constantly. That's what causing the cooling and heating or the cooling effect, actually ultimately creates the cooling effect overall in the system. So,
yeah, so like what's the
again,
motor of the earth?
well, but see the thing, and I was saying this yesterday too, you can have a pressurized system without constant pressure being applied into that system. And a tank, a scuba tank is a good example. You put a lot of energy into that to pressurize the system, but you can reduce the temperature of the tank and still maintain the pressure because as soon as you open the valve, the pressure is released. Even though
Yeah,
the
but you had
temperature
to
of
use
that
the
tank.
energy in the first place, didn't you? So I suppose if we are
Oh, the energy.
pressurized.
So the energy, there still is this energy thing still in
Yeah.
play, and so no matter what, if you have a pressurized system, there has to be energy in play. And I'm not talking
Yeah,
about
I would say
gravity.
so.
Gravity has nothing to do with this. Nothing. The idea of Newtonian gravity has nothing to do with this. So we can live in a pressurized dynamic system and have the dynamic system I think is caused by the sun and other factors that are going on. But even if you remove those factors, we could still be in a pressurized system and have that pressure gradient in a pressurized system.
There's somebody
Because
that's
it causes it.
disagreeing with you. Hold on a second, Paul. There's somebody disagreeing with your take on gravity. No one in Discord. You're typing away in the chat, and then you're in this voice chat room. You're off mute. Why don't you have a go with Paul? At no one. No one in Discord. I know you can hear me.
You pop yourself on mute, Paul.
Me? Okay, hang on.
Yeah, Paul. No one.
Sorry.
I was
Hello.
disagreeing.
No one. I see your smiling face right here. You're one of those chat board warriors. I know who you are. So you said gravity needs energy to work. Laughing your ass off. Hope we never run out of gravity power. Okay? So you have Paul here that brought up the term gravity. Would you like to have a conversation with Paul? You yellow
I was just wondering where he
spine
got the
coward.
idea that you have to have energy to have the force.
You need to fix your mic.
No, he said, I'm wondering where he got the idea that we need energy to have force. Paul, did you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, it's our everyday experience. I'm pushing a cart through the grocery store right now. I am applying energy to this cart, moving it. So there's energy and force in play. If I don't push on this cart, it'll just sit there. It won't move. It'll just sit there. So it's right now
So
in the
because
grocery store,
some
proves my
forces
point.
require energy, all forces require energy?
Show me where a force doesn't require energy, because I think they do. Everything, when something's in motion or movement, it is requiring energy to cause it. Molecules in motion, which is the gas issue, has energy implied, causing molecules to bounce and creating the force inside the container, correct?
Sure, but just because some require energy means all require energy?
Okay, you're saying some that don't. You show me one that doesn't. I'm showing
I
all
mean,
forces
I'm driving
I
down the road here and I
experience
see a
every
red car.
day
Just because I
require
see a
energy.
red car, does that mean all cars are red?
All cars require gasoline, which is energy to cause it to move.
This car is red, though. Are all cars red just because this one car is red?
Define force, and then we'll have a conversation. Define force.
Yeah, did you hear what he said? He's asking for a definition of force.
Any interaction that will cause a change in motion of an object.
So change in motion or location, right? Is that what you're saying? Any change in location or motion?
Nowhere in
Are
that
all
definition does it say it requires
marbles
energy.
inside of a tank? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. You might hold.
Nowhere
I'm
in
sorry, I
that
didn't catch you.
definition does it say that it requires.
Cut off at the end. Nowhere in
Nowhere
the
in that
definition.
definition.
Unbelievable.
No one.
Am I off the rails, John?
No, we just didn't hear the. He's making a point, but we just didn't hear the last two words of it because you presumably he's using push to talk and just letting go a little bit too soon.
Okay.
Nowhere in that definition does it say that it requires energy.
To move something, what is required? Something to move, what is required?
Yeah, right. For me to move something, it requires energy, but that doesn't mean you have to have energy anytime something moves.
You show me an example of what you're saying. Demonstrate that for me.
Drop something and watch it change position. Where was the energy required?
When I pick something up, I applied energy to that because I'm moving it out of its position, adding kinetic energy to that.
But then when you drop it, do you apply energy to it or do you just let go of it?
Sorry, you're not addressing him. He's saying, you said, where did you get the energy from? He says, I pick it up, put energy into it. Before he did that and put energy into it, it wasn't dropping. It's not just whistle past the fact that you have to put energy into it, completely shattering your argument. Are you going to address that or what?
Right, now it has potential energy, and then you drop it, right?
So something lying on the ground isn't dropping until I pick it up?
No.
Exactly.
Then why is it on the ground?
Oh,
then
God.
why is it on the ground?
Should have stayed on mute.
The wind could have blown it there.
Sorry, why is it on the ground? Who cares? You're trying to give us an example of something that moves without any energy input. Your example being input some energy into something and then ignore the fact you put energy in it and just observe what it does after you drop it. Well, that's useless and that's been shattered. Okay, well, so is there anything else to add to this, or has Paul just basically smashed you?
If that's how you're going to define it, then the energy for gravity comes from the energy you put in when you pick it up.
Gravity? Which gravity?
The gravity we've been talking about this entire time. I'm not the one that brought it up.
Which gravity are you talking about? Newtonian, Cavendish? I'm sorry, I'm taking Newton out of it. Reverend John Mitchell,
ask Paul.
Cavendish?
I'm not the one that brought
Reverend John Mitchell, Cavendish, or Einsteinian?
Ask Paul. I'm not the one who brought gravity up. What
sorry, stop a second, you two. You're no one, right?
Yeah, which is a contradiction.
Sorry, just read your quote from the live stream chat. Gravity needs energy to work, ? LMAO. What? Hope we never run out of gravity power. So do you want to take that complete shit that you haven't made any claims back, or you're going to accept that is printed in black and white in the live stream chat? Do I need to put it on screen for the audience to prove you're a liar, or are you just going to rescind?
Is Paul not the one who originally brought up gravity?
No, John enticed you into this conversation. Because you had mentioned it in the live stream. He made that clear. Now you're denying it for some reason.
Because Paul said, where does the energy for gravity come from? Because all forces need energy.
And you
I was
responded.
actually saying the point I was making is if gravity is in play, then there has to be energy involved, according to the Newtonian or Einsteinian perspective. So that's all I was saying. I was actually bringing a question, not making a statement. I wasn't agreeing with gravity. I was questioning the understanding.
I was questioning your
drop and just
question
listen.
because nowhere in those frameworks does it say it requires energy.
What's it? What's it?
There's nowhere in that statement that what doesn't require energy. What's it in your last statement? What's the it bit?
The same it that we've been talking about from the beginning.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, what's that? What's that?
The gravity that Paul brought up.
Just say it, man.
There we
Get it
go.
over with.
So we're back to John's question then. So which gravity specifically?
It's a gravity that makes stuff fall to the ground.
Unbelievable. You are such a clown, sir.
No. What's that one then? There's two.
Then they.
I mentioned them, by the way. I mentioned them, helping you out there.
So did he. That's fine. Is he having mic problems now? I would suggest you do.
So we're going to find out which gravity this is in reference to that we've been talking about the whole time, apparently, according to you.
It doesn't matter which one.
Yeah, it does. Words have meanings. They're different definitions for two different things, so it very much does matter. It's very specific to your
But
argument.
locally here on Earth, they do the same thing.
What are they? Those two different types of gravity, you think they do the same thing?
Yeah.
And what is
they
that
do.
thing?
Because before Newton and before Einstein,
Yeah. You're almost there with a sentence. Just one little adjective. And we'll have a whole sentence.
You cut off, bro. You said before Newton and Einstein. What? You cut off.
before Newton and before Einstein, things fell to the ground. They fall into the ground for the entirety of the history of Earth.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
even
they fall
before
down and go
gravity.
boom, boom.
Wow.
So things fall down,
wants,
go
hold
boom,
on,
boom.
Hold on. Who wants this? I heard, no disrespect, John. I heard
Okay.
Paige, and I heard, I think, Arwin. Who wants this?
You go for it, Alwyn.
I don't think Arwen is here.
Who was it that spoke
Oh,
up? Was it you, Anon?
Moto. Yeah.
Go ahead. It's all yours.
All right. Yeah, things used to fall all the time because of relative density, because they're in the medium of air. They're denser than air. So they go down because the air can't support them until they hit something more dense, namely the Earth. Then they're stuck. Then they can't go any further. Hello?
Why do denser things go down rather than up?
Because the thing that's under it can't support it. Simple as that.
Right, but the thing that's above it can't support it either, so why doesn't it go up?
Wait, the thing above it doesn't support it?
It's a law of nature.
Things go down, and it's relative to the person's eye. Now, here's a thought experiment. Here's a thought experiment. Imagine
Relative to the person's eye, so if I'm
on.
upside down, it'll
Hold
go
on.
up?
Just wait. So imagine a cave. This cave is filled with liquid mercury. Okay, imagine this. There's these animals that kind of live inside this liquid mercury, kind of like those animals that live by the vents, you know, the harsh environment. Let's just assume that exists. And to them, everything is flowing upwards. Everything is hitting the roof of the cave. Okay, now if they evolved, quote unquote evolved, or whatever, if they had eyes, they would be seeing everything upside down, and they would probably have legs on their heads. And to them, everything is going down, but it's not really down to me because it's going up to me. It's all relative to the person's looking at whatever it's looking at inside the medium. Up and down are not like actual directions. It's just relative to the eye of the beholder. Kind of like beauty.
Oh, that's sweet.
No worries, mate. Do you understand? It's relative to the person,
And
to the
he's
eye
stuck out in
of the
space
beholder.
too.
You got to give him a chance to respond. Sorry, Paige.
So if I'm upside down, it'll go the other way since it's relative to me.
If you're upside down on your hands, and you're looking at a balloon, and the balloon goes up, but if you're upside down with your hands on the ground, it's actually going down, isn't it?
Yeah, so things go. So if I drop a rock, if I'm upside
Things
down, it
go
should go
relative.
up, right?
Sorry, say
Say that
again.
again.
No one.
So here's another example. If Newton
Hold on.
was by water,
I didn't hear no one's response. Well, looks like that's it then. Shout out to LLB Store. The gravity force is the displaced air medium pushing us up, just like air-filled beach ball forced underwater pushed back up from the water. Thank you very much for the super chat, LLB Store. Is that it? Are you done? Can I give a quick summary?
did he drop?
No, he's still there. He just didn't take the chance to give you a response. I don't know why. Okay, fine. Well, this fundamentalist assertion that everything goes down is incorrect. Some things go up. So, steam from the kettle, helium balloons, these things don't go down. They go up. So there is no force pulling everything down. It's relative to the medium. If the thing is less dense, then it'll go up. So it's not that more dense things are suddenly going to go up because the air is also less dense above it, because the thing that's less dense would go in that direction. It's relative to its density. It's not all to do with an imaginary force that's presupposed by fundamentalist religious zealots, and everything to do with the density relative to its medium. Simple.
Yep, pretty simple.
Flat Earth dude says coffee is going down. Not if you're standing on your head, it isn't. Well, that was fun. I'm really grateful to you, No One. Not often that the keyboard warriors actually come away from being keyboard warriors for a few moments. I really appreciated that. Not about anybody else, but I did.
He's thinking about that cave right now.
We did a experiment. I remember when I was in primary school, where our teacher made us do a handstand and then chew something and swallow it. And I remember being told that was our bodies working against gravity, being able to swallow something upside down.
Not an experiment.
No, not an experiment. And a demonstration.
A demonstration, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they've got to work that into the education, haven't they? They've got to reference gravity when all their early demonstration is, what is it? Capillary motion.
Yeah, it was just your muscles in your throat and stuff. Like, wow.
People who have young kids
I
are
do
watching
like
TV. for children. I mean, it's amazing how they. I mean, once you realize what's going on, and then you watch like Curious George. I mean, literally yesterday he was changing something inside the Hubble, and the guy at the Dr. Weisberg in the NASA headquarters was telling them, because you have to shoot around the moon, the gravity, and then and I was like, what the hell, dude? This kid's 2 years old. Like, leave him alone, seriously. And
Wow.
everywhere I go, the kids, I mean, even my own kids, they have shirts with dinosaurs on them. Like, it's the dinosaurs is the most common, and spaceships is like the most common shit that they put on kids' clothing. It's amazing.
Yeah, dinosaurs and space. Everything's polluted with space. So common in people.
Why?
Go ahead.
Why dinosaurs, though? Do you think that they've chosen that as like the poster boy for billions of years and evolution and all that? It's only something recent as well, isn't it? All this dinosaur stuff, like maybe 100 years or 200 years.
I don't have their motives as to why they picked that creature. I mean, they could have just stuck with dragons, but they did what they did. I have no answers as to why, but I just know that it's being pushed, it's being shoved. I mean, you go to Fred Meyer, you go anywhere, you go to the kids section, and it's just dinosaurs and rocket ships and space. It's how early they start with gravitational force explanations is just amazing. I'm like, just wait until he goes to school. But no, they want you to know what gravity is before you even go to first grade. That's what it comes down to. Like,
yeah,
even at first grade, you should know what gravity is.
They want you to understand it at a subconscious level from being a baby.
Yep, before you literally can hold your neck up.
Dude, I had a solar system mobile over my crib my parents bought for me. And the first mattress that I had after I left the crib had space on it. And I still remember that to this day.
It should give some disclaimers here that we don't deny the lights in the sky as flat earthers, just in case there's any newbies watching.
Yeah, I was gonna say your parents at least got you something that's kind of real. Like you know, there are lights in the sky.
Yeah, but
yeah,
some of them,
sure.
some of them take their own
It had
path.
rockets. It had rockets and astronauts and all that crap too. So
well, it's more that as a mobile, it's physical. So they're not what they are, right? They're not lights. They're suddenly physical things that you can look at above your crib in the same way you can look at the lights above your sky. But you would understand, at least, I don't know, I'm not a baby, or I obviously can't remember what it's like being a baby, but, you know, you're visualising something that's physical in front of you. And later in life, you might actually touch that mobile. So when they tell you that you can go to Saturn or whatever, then you're going to understand at a fundamental level because you've seen it from the crib. Something physical. Well, they're not, they're just lights.
I'm finding it very interesting, the difference between my 12-year-old compared to my 17 and 18-year-olds, how much more indoctrinated the older two are, and how they just still want to hold on to, you know, all these things that they've learned in high school. Whereas with my younger boy, he hasn't had that time, you know, that so much drummed into him. So he's a little bit more open to understanding a different point of view. It's very interesting.
That's the process, isn't it? That basically school is about reversing your creativity from a child for the most part. Unless you go to a really good school,
yeah.
What they do is that they just take your creativity and work backwards, so that by the time you come out of it, you know, you think you're creative, you think you're smart, but you've got most of it sucked out of you, I think.
You're just a carbon copy.
Becoming an
You don't
adult.
have any.
But
it's really quite sad, you know, when I see the difference between my young boy and my older boys, and, you know, the imagination that my young one's got compared to just the cookie cutter answers I get from my older boys. It's like, oh, wow, I'm so sorry. Like, oh, shit. But then I get told I'm going to ruin my kid's life for telling him this. Oh, well.
Have you told all your sons?
Yeah. My oldest one has turned around and said, yeah, you've got some good points, but he won't go any further than that. The middle boy, he just doesn't even want to know. And the younger one is completely flat earth now.
This might be a nod to you, Paige. So £3.33 from Colin Turner says blast the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Colin.
333, nice.
Let me know if that was a nod to Paige.
Yeah, even the Gematria connections with space are just amazing. Like, wow.
Plug your channel,
Female
Paige.
astronaut.
Started making videos. You're officially a videographer now. Plug your channel.
Yeah, I am. It's just my name, Paige, and it's just all Gematria, a book called Letters and Numbers. The first chapter's out, and there's a little quick 10-minute video introducing the Gematria calculator and explaining what, how to use it and what it does. And then the first video on the book is why are there 26 letters in the English alphabet? And I go through, exactly how the English alphabet was created this way. And that's why all these connections can be made, because they literally made it this way. So yeah, very interesting.
It's Payge. And what's the title of your video? I'll go and dig it out so I can spam it in the chat, but if you can just give the title.
It's why are there 26 letters in the English alphabet?
Oh, jolly good! I found you surprisingly quickly, so I'll put a link.
Oh, brilliant!
In the live stream chat to this one's called just Gematria Calculator. So I'll stick that in now. Check out Paige's channel. Go and subscribe to her today.
Thank you very much, Nathan.
Just subscribed less than a second ago.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Ooh.
I actually had a comment from Slick on my video today. I haven't seen him around for a while. Or I haven't heard him. I've seen him around, but I haven't heard him.
Slick James Johnson?
Yeah.
Oh, shout out to Slick. Yeah, he regularly comments on Flat Earth Debate.
On your show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was stoked he came and had a look. That was real nice.
Seems like such a long time ago that Slick was frequently frequenting the show. Probably only about 2 weeks.
Let me mediate real quick.
They getting on?
Let me mediate real quick.
Still didn't catch that, Anon. Say it one more time.
He always used to say, let me mediate real quick. Just let me mediate.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll return at some stage. All are welcome, Crucy. Slick ain't welcome no more. Yeah, he is. All are welcome. I think Brenda would return day after day if people like Slick weren't welcome. Brenda definitely wouldn't be, let's put it that way. But yet she still comes in.
I think that's why Owen was a little bit triggered when he came on before, because Brenda was in his chat and she was asking him, oh, let me join you so I can explain to you what this is, Owen. And he's just like, no, you're not coming on.
Slick get a toe tag. Mason B in the chat says, I found Slick's toe tag. It's 815 after show. Is that right, Mason B? Did he get a toe tag? Colin Turner says, just sub to Paige. Yeah, I think it was a nod to you, Paige.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Colin.
I really want to know why the 20 the alphabet, why there's
26 letters. Oh, there's
Yeah.
lots and lots of different reasons, but it's all basically around God and, you know, God's name, the Hebrew and the Greek. Oh, somebody wants to join in. Yeah, it's like it's about an hour long, but it goes through all the different equations for the names, different names of God, and all the different words that associate with that.
Point out how calm it is now Spurs isn't around, and how that isn't necessarily a good thing.
I can see where he's coming from, but I don't know why. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see where he's coming from. It's just frustrating.
Oh, that's just reminded me of something. I was watching Tim Osman, and he mentioned that he'd had a little chat with you. Obviously, he was very derogatory towards you in his in his comments, but I didn't realise you'd had a chat with him. How did you get on?
Oh, I've spoken to him twice. Yeah, he's just so condescending. He obviously loves the sound of his own voice, and yeah, you just can't get through to people like that.
And he's an abject retard that thinks he's an intellectual. It's like Elmer Fudd Sophus.
Oh, yeah. He sort
Besides
of acts like
right?
he's some kind of Christ figure, kind of. You know, he sort of talks like, you know, I can give you all the answers, and I'm just so knowledgeable, and you know, and he talks in this real, condescending way. It's infuriating to me.
For the first 2 years he was out here, he didn't know the difference between moot, M-O-O-T, and mute.
M-U-T-E, yeah.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, he used to say moot yourself. Me, Cathexis and I, we wouldn't tell him. Every show would be laughing in the background.
Oh, dear.
Are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious. You ever talk to Cathexis again? Ask him about it.
That's pretty funny.
When he tried to say that all flat earthers ignore, you know, everything that they say to us, and you know, and none of us will listen, and all this kind of stuff. But I sat on, I think I spoke to him the first time on Nathan Thompson's show, and then the second time on Jose's show, and I made sure I was very polite and listened to everything he had to say, and you know, and then when he was on Ranty's show, he's saying, I've got a really open mind, but I'll never believe in flat earth. And it's like, well, then you don't have an open mind. How can you say that? He contradicts himself, you know, says one thing and then, I don't know, he's frustrating.
Yeah, he went through the comments that were on Ranty's roundtable of his presentation, and obviously your comments were quite prevalent. You'd left 2 or 3 there. So he went
I think I left about 5.
Yeah, right. You've reiterated most of what you said in the comments here now, but obviously you had a thing or two to say about that.
Yeah, it was driving me nuts. I must have driven Ranty nuts, having to just sit there and listen to what he was saying, knowing how wrong he was. I just don't know how he did it.
Did you watch Ranty's face?
Yeah, when he was like
see his face.
falling
Some of the
asleep,
answers
going,
that Timmy was giving, Ranty was just like sitting there turning red, basically. Like it was hilarious.
It was pretty funny.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a rebuttal to Timmy Clown's position on Friday. Am I mistaken on that? Or
no, well, you are and you aren't. I'm intending to do something. I don't really know what I'm going to put together yet. So I said to Ranty earlier I might do a presentation on Friday if I can get the presentation together, or it will be at a later date if not. But I just didn't want to actually give out a date.
Yeah, didn't somebody cancel on him?
Yeah, I'll get that a lot. That's why I didn't want to commit and say, yeah, I'll do it on Friday, just if time's not permitting and I don't get something together. I don't want to just go on and wing it. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, there we go there then.
I pasted one of those videos that I recorded from TV. It's Peppa Pig about moon. It's just watch it. It's just so stupid.
Anon, I told you that Jaren used one of your videos, right? On one of his.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, I've seen that footage before. That's pretty awesome.
Tell us more.
Well, guys, I might head off. It's 1:15 here, so I'm just about to fall asleep. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you on the next stream, hey?
Thanks, Paige. It's good to see you.
All right,
Yeah.
Paige.
Thanks for
Good to
shouting
have you
the
on the
channel out.
panel.
Catch you guys later.
Take care.
Put another link to Paige's channel in the live stream if you want to go and subscribe to her channel. Check her out. She's making videos. There is a
No,
public link.
you still have that video? Maybe you want to play it, since there's, nothing much going on as far as glow proof.
Talking about me?
Yeah, you want to play that video?
I'm on my phone and I'm changing
Oh
poop
yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah, you're right.
But yeah, if it's in master, I can paste it in Master B and someone can put it out there.
Yeah, I can do that. What is the video anyway? What's it about?
Narrow viewing angle. Remember the good old days?
About narrow
Just
viewing angle.
light yeah.
Cool.
I'll give me like a minute and a half. A minute. I'll paste it on Master B.
No worries. I'll get it up and I'll stick it up. Is it nice and short? Hopefully. No offense.
Yeah, it's pretty short. So
Cool.
maybe a minute and a half.
Perfect. That's perfect. So Jaren just used it to contextualize the point it was making, right?
Yeah, and he actually said he said this video is made by Anon, which is weird because on this I posted on. I don't have a YouTube channel because I don't want one. I pasted on Streamable, and there's no title, no nothing. But he knew it was. He said, "Oh, it was made by Anon," which made me think that he's on Master B somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he is in Master B.
Yeah,
oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you get a really warm and fuzzy feeling when someone like Jaren promotes you, right? Makes you feel special. But it does for me. I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah, I didn't even catch it until Chocolat told me. I was like, thanks.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of missing warm and fuzzy moments now Patricia Steer's gone for newbie flat earthers who've become videographers. Slightly heartbreaking, if I'm honest, but, still pleased when people like Jaren do the similar thing and shout people like yourself out and use the examples, videos that they've made, and that's just good. And like I say, I can only speak from experience, but when things like that happen to me, I'm really, really pleased and excited, and, just makes me happy.
I think my favorite part was when he was joking and he said, Sir Nathan Oakley.
Right, that's because of the Narnia equation.
That was so funny. I died. But yeah, I pasted on Master B, Nathan.
Okay, let's have a look. How do altimeters work? Is that it?
No, it's just a streamable link.
Oh, okay.
There's no title.
In Master B? I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. Okay,
Last message was from Chemo.
No, you didn't. Yeah, you didn't post it yet. I don't see it.
It's not atmospheric pressure. We can only measure water pressure, says Chemo. My God. Does he ever stop? Here we go.
Here's a flashlight.
Oh, started already.
Flush to the ground. Very smooth ground. Very smooth. Like a mirror. If they use the level to level and make it smooth. Look how shiny and level. And smooth. This floor is, yep, there's like a little bit of gap right here. Oh no, dear. A little bit of gap, but it's nothing. Tiny flush. We can't see it, or at least I can't see it. Over here.
Yes, I've got it up for the audience.
Oh, got it.
The light.
Does it need commentary?
Nope.
The moment you're walking around and now you're on the floor, you're looking at a computer
It's
screen.
just me making fun of it.
How do I get rid of the sound? That'll do.
There's the thing in the corner.
Okay, so you got your light at the end.
Yep, just dropping the iPhone down a little bit. And the light just boonk.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And that's a bright flashlight.
That any more for any more? Did you do it up again? Yep, you do.
Yeah, I'll do it one more time.
Cool. So what we used to call angle of attack videos, right?
Yep. The first one I saw was you with that book. And I was like, what? I had never thought of that or even had anybody explain that or see that until I saw that book in that room.
The lights are miles better than my book. I mean, that was the first one to my knowledge, but the as soon as, was it Jose or was it Travis? I forget who was first. I think it was Jose. Jose did it with
Supermarket?
Yeah, I think it was Jose that was the first to do it with the light. He did it on a camera phone. He took a camera phone to the other end of the supermarket, right?
Yep.
Very smooth ground.
That streamable keeps looping the video just.
Oh, let's just get rid of that then.
Yeah, streamable just loops it.
What were you saying? Smooth.
Smooth ground.
Oh,
Flat.
right.
They use the level to level the ground.
Right. Yeah.
And
I liked it back in the day.
Shiny.
Before we got to the point that
somebody will say it's curvature.
I was just about to say that, Chocolate. I liked it before we appreciated that they only have one cause to assert. It's always a... It's always Earth curve. So where we have Tim Osman listing off a massive list of things that could be accounting for things disappearing in the distance, they only have one assertion, which is Earth curve. So when it came to these videos and the floor, they literally would assert that the floor was curving. Because they can only give one explanation.
Amazing.
The curve calculator.
He rattled
says
off
it's curved.
yesterday again about how he's got, I think the list is up to, there's like 86 things now that the flat earthers use as excuses.
86 things that we only ever assert is Earth curve. If it's disappearing into the distance because of a small aperture on an iPhone in a hall or a supermarket, then you can be damn sure that it's going to be Earth curve as well, because they've only got one cause to assert. It's absolutely comical.
That's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
And here's the thing, even if they claim that the floor is, not 100% level and there's bumpy and whatever. What's crazy is that with that observation I was doing is just maybe literally 5 steps in front. That's why I had to go behind that table. I didn't want to go behind that table. I wanted to be in front of the table. And when I did that, I could still see some of the light. And I was like, what? So I just literally got up, went 5 steps further back, and boom, it disappeared. So that means that what they're saying is like, if there's something with the floor, then it was between that 5 steps, because, you know, from all the way from the wall to the table, I could still see it. It was just, I was at a perfect spot where I could take a couple steps back and the angle would just be small enough where it wouldn't show.
Those were the days.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that at work, but like,
yeah, I'm glad your example got
people
used, because with that high intensity torch, it did look, you know, and a shorter range than Jose and Travis were managing. You know, it's just that much more obvious when you've got it at a slightly shorter range.
Yeah.
Very cool.
How far would you say that was?
Say like maybe 60 yards.
Oh, it's further than it looked then.
I mean, yeah, you see my steps. Like, I guess you can count the steps, but say about no, maybe less than 60 yards, maybe 50, 40 or 50 yards. Half of a football stadium, football field, I think.
It's just foreshortening. You know, you're reducing the angle as you lower. That's all you're doing. We called it angle of attack, but that was just a catchy way of describing the actual process of reducing your angle to get something to disappear in the distance. But in reality, the effect is just called foreshortening.
Yeah, it's I think I forget who did that. I think it was Good Times for All, where it wasn't even a thing, and it was like 4 feet on an actual flat table, and it was basically it was a paper with a little bit of blue on it, and you could see the blue on the paper. It was just blue ink, but as soon as you bring the camera down, suddenly the blue ink of the paper would disappear, or you just see the white, and then you know. So it's, you don't even have to be that far. It's 5 feet. You could see the foreshortening of the ink on a paper.
Exactly. And this effect has made it onto Tim Osmond's list of things that will, of course, be called Earth Curve.
Yep.
Cool. Well, with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of today's live debating panel for making this debate possible. If you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Massive thanks to all who tuned in live, smashed the super chat, commented, shared, subscribed, all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum if you want to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Dave, where you been, bro? How you been, man?
I'm just joking. I said it's a ball because I saw it on the telly.
On the telly.
I was actually dealing with lots of the chemistry stuff since I've ended up for my research.
You were being a mad scientist somewhere.
Yeah, just trying to figure stuff out. Turns out to be much more complicated than I initially thought, and I found some good material on the subject. Have you seen this channel? It's two flat earthers. They're called Pete and Peter. They do chemistry.
Close your ears, John. Close your ears.
Yeah. That's not for John. Yeah. If you hear
Yeah,
water
that's
is an
most
element,
definitely
it will
not
be
for me.
another pressure situation, like with Spurs.
Okay, they're closed.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything.
John's on mute.
I'm not saying anything specific. It's just there's some some good tests those guys run there, and it's interesting to observe what they come up with.
What are they trying to say? What are they saying?
Well, it's just that most of the elements in the periodic table are actually products or non-actual elements.
What are they?
Well, processed elements.
So
That's
like
what they are
man-made,
referring to.
not natural man-made elements. That's what you're saying.
Well, it's like, like steel. You get steel ore, but you don't get like pure steel, so you have to refine it and stuff. But it's really interesting. You have to. I found it difficult in the beginning getting up to what they're trying to say. It seemed really far-fetched, but it really needs a lot of looking into and actually uh, getting to understand chemistry more, which I wasn't. But it's something really interesting to look at.
Just some unsolicited advice. If I were you, if I wanted a chemistry education, I'd probably start, right at the bottom with probably around the community college, just general, like intro to chemistry, and then just take general chemistry. As for organic chemistry, I'd advise you to stay away.
No, I get you, Q. I've done chemistry in school. I actually had only high grades in chemistry, but like not that deep into uh, like hardcore chemistry and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Just like
in what school? High school?
high school, yeah, and then at the university we had biochemistry and stuff like that.
Oh, and
National
you
Sports
did
Academy.
attend chemistry and at university?
No. It was part of the program. It's the National Sports Academy, so you have to take it. I was in gymnastics, so everybody goes to that class, biochemistry and stuff like that.
You had to take biochemistry for gymnastics? That's a new one on me.
Everybody, even the school teachers that go into the sports academy, have to do it. Everybody, no matter what sport you are or what faculty you're in, you have to go there.
Yeah, you'd have to have an understanding of organic chemistry first. See where the problem is?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you just don't go into biochemistry
Mhm.
without a foundation in organic chemistry. And that's your huckleberry. That's the stopper for all the pretender clowns, right? You can fake your way up through general chemistry, which is just basically math and dimensional analysis. But once you get to organic chemistry, that's where they separate the men from the mice. Yes, sir.
Yeah. One question for you, Q. Do you think they've purposely divided chemistry from physics in schools? Like,
No, all chemistry falls under physics. All chemistry, biochemistry, everything, all the actual sciences fall under physics.
yeah, that's true. But like here in Bulgaria, for example, you get physics class and you get chemistry classes. It's like they're separate from each other.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, but your physics classes are nothing but mathematics classes, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just
And
mathematics.
some bullshit theories.
It's just mathematics, man.
Mhm.
That's where they screwed you up. It's not they may put the word physics over top of it,
Yeah.
right? But it's mathematics on your schedule. They should just put in parentheses pure just mathematics and equations.
Who said?
And
Who said shut up and calculate?
shut up and calculate, Richard Feynman.
Richard Feynman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not really separate. Taking an overall view of it, everything falls under physics.
Yeah, that's my understanding and my like. It's all about the physical properties of stuff.
John, just out of curiosity, how long have you been into quantum mechanics?
Good question. What is 2019? 10 years.
Good amount of time.
Guys,
My
what
10
do you
years
think?
is different from my 10 years is different from other 10 years. See, they think it's like a 2-year degree and stuff. No, I operate on a different schedule.
Ah, flat Earth years, of course.
Flat Earth years. I like that.
No, they go to school. Regular guys go to school for what? I mean, how long's your university day? Right? For the first 5 years, my life was 15 hours a day. So if you're going to take a shot at the title, people, you got to put in the work. You will not outwork me. It is impossible. So you better get to it. Thanks.
Guys, I have a question for you. Do you think it would be beneficial if we somehow knew how many people around Earth actually know Earth is flat, so we can cite that number and how it's growing every single day? Because
You'll never know
it
that.
is happening. It's growing every single day.
You'll never know that number.
Unknowable.
You could take a guess. They could do some extrapolations off of that, but that's all you're going to get. I think didn't National Geographic do that?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they said I can't recall the exact. Don't in the comments pull me up on this. The video was a while ago. I think they just did it with the United States. Was it 1%? Listen. I'm not even going to speculate. I can't remember.
I'm gonna.
But
I'll find that. I'll find that. It's
You
actually.
mean when they took a poll?
The U.gov poll. Yeah, I have the poll.
Millennials or something
it was
that
Mark.
believe.
It was Mark Sargent on that one video with the astrophysicist at the end. That's all I can remember. That knucklehead astrophysicist at the end and it was a female interviewing Mark Sargent in the beginning. That's all I can remember from it.
Do you think, guys, it will be beneficial to like have some approximate or close number to the real amount?
Why?
Also, we can just cite it because it's probably growing every single day.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it true or not true.
Yeah, but still, it's just like to get attention that there's really a lot of people taking the time and effort to look into it.
What about the people that are not going to mark down the truth, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's so many confounding variables, and you just get a general picture. I guess if it interests you, it's okay, but it doesn't have any cowbell.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's just for me. You could do, if it has cowbell for you, that's fine. I'm not saying my cowbell is more important than your cowbell. Okay? Hashtag same team.
Hashtag same team.
I pasted the U.gov poll in Master B. You see the percentages that they came up with.
Once that's been discussed, any chance you can plug Ballbusters, because this will air on Friday night.
You talking to me?
Yeah, so because this will actually air on Friday night, so tomorrow will be Ballbusters, as you can hear my kids screaming.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Ball busters. Be there or be sphere. Obviously, we're going to go over the Coriolis effect again. Like I said, I'm going to drop anchor in there for the next few weeks. I promised people in Discord that I would do the Sea Sparrow. So it's definitely the two are going to be the Sea Sparrow and the Coriolis effect. We might try to squeeze something else in there, but for right now, it's those two again. Thanks. Oh, Ballbusters is 2 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time and 8 p.m. UK time. Saturday. Thanks.
Be here or be sphere.
Anon, do you know that the link that you posted in Master B recently? I saw an article somewhere stating that this is false news. I think on Russia Today or something like that.
I mean, I pasted you a link from u.gov. It is a polling agency, so take it for what it's a polling agency. So
Yeah, I know, because I
as
remember
accurate.
when it came out, but recently I think it was on Russia Today, if I'm not mistaken. But they claim it's like this set of false news that somehow came out. It was really strange how they just decided suddenly that this is false news or fake
One
news.
man's false news is another man's gospel.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, that picture.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
You know,
can somebody quickly summarize the number for that study or for the poll value?
Yeah, hold on. So by age, this actually here. Do you believe that the world is round? And I believe that the world has always been round. So 84%, 84% believe that the world is round. If you do the ages, everybody. Ages 18 to 24, only 66%. Ages 25 to 34, only 76%. Ages 35 to 44, 82%. Anyway, so the higher you go, the more it is. The 55 plus, 94% believe.
The question's
I always
malformed.
thought the world is round, but more recently, I'm skeptical / have doubts. And from 18 to 24-year-old, 9% have said that. So 9%, 9% of 18 to 24-year-olds are starting to have doubts.
Number one,
7%
can you go on mute for a second? Thanks. Number one, the question's malformed because they said, is the world round, right? So
Yes.
that's nonsensical.
I didn't make the questions.
Yeah, oh, I know, I understand that. But you're giving us percentages. We want numbers of population, the numbers. 8%, 9% of what?
Americans,
I mean?
about 390 million. But who knows what their pool
Can you
was?
guys hear me if
who
I
knows how
speak?
much?
Yeah, we hear you.
Hey guys.
What's up? Is that Waz? Sounds like
No,
Waz.
it's Ben Adams. How are you?
Ben
Ben.
Adams.
How
You're
are you
not in
guys?
Discord, right? You're on the panel?
All good? Yeah, seems like I'm on the
Go
panel.
ahead.
Yes, indeed. No, but
Go ahead.
I agree with you that round business is a trap. That round business, it's blurring the lines on purpose. And then also the other questions like how long the tour has it for? How long has it been the tour the Earth round or something like that? It doesn't make sense because the Earth has always been the same shape, no matter what. So those questions make no sense.
It's a YouGov poll. What do you want?
It's good enough
Say
for
again?
government work. It's good enough for government work.
Yeah, they got so much confusion in people's head they don't even know what they're answering to. That's
I think they stated the number on the National Geographic show, the rough number of how many people in the United States believe it. I think it was in the millions. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I can remember going over that number with a couple people, and then we moved on.
But I think in the States and in every very religious country, like you've got lots of people very traditionalists with the Bible or with Quran, flat Earth will be more acceptable for them, if not outright already their conviction before even flat Earth came about. Because I know some people believing in the Bible literally believed even before flat Earth that the Bible was flat.
I believe, I know the Bible is literal with the literal parts and figurative with the figurative parts. That's how I roll. How about that?
No, I know it's literal, but I mean, I don't know if you've discussed about that. My view is on the different names of God and the synonym and how they were translated. So, in my view, there's different stories, but everybody's called God. But it's literal on in the things it tells. There is a lot of science in the Bible. In fact, if you look into it, you got clonation protocols.
Yes, there is.
So.
For
And you've got
example?
more advanced technology than it seems, because there is also, I don't remember where it is, but there is this device that I think David puts on his shoulders and he's able to talk to God directly or something like that. Have you guys heard of something like that?
Like a walkie-talkie?
It sounds like a walkie-talkie in the description, but it's something he puts on his shoulders, and you've got buttons, and apparently it talks
Can you
directly to
find
God.
the
But it sounds like
verbatim
a
verse?
phone. In
Because
fact,
that sounds very interesting.
I've never heard of that.
the
I want to
name I
hear this
think is
biblical
the
walkie-talkie.
iPod in ancient Hebrew. I need to find the reference. I'll supply that to you
Please,
guys.
I'd love to see this. This is gonna crack me up. Please.
Until we
There's
get that
plenty of stuff.
reference,
I mean,
can anybody just... Sorry.
no, I need to go through a book. Actually, it's several book I've got, and I know I remember I read that somewhere. It was actually very striking. But it's a translation trick. You basically take a word you don't know, you just change it into the original, and you're trying to understand by the context. And with spirit and glory, it also gives funny results, because when Moses talks to Yahweh and he asks him to show his glory, because otherwise the people from Egypt won't follow him, he says, "Come tomorrow, because I don't have my glory with me. And when I come back with my glory, you better hide behind a stone or a rock, because otherwise you die." And in fact, Moses speak, and he got burned by the glory of God. So if you replace glory by the actual word, you can make up. It's not so much something spiritual; it's something much more material, and I don't know, a different approach.
Sounds like a laser gun to me. Sounds like a laser gun.
Well, the original is kavod in ancient Hebrew, and it means a chariot in Hebrew. And if you Google kavod custom, until not such a long time ago, it was a website selling weapons. So glory is the translation in our Bibles of kavod, which means chariot. And spirit is also an interesting word, because it's ruach, which is the wing, in fact. And in Ezekiel, when the spirit of God starts flying behind his back in a big noise, and then you've got the wheels between the wheels, and you've got the atoms inside the spirit.
Sounds like a Black Hawk helicopter.
A flying machine to me, but no. Yeah, go ahead.
Sounds like a Black Hawk helicopter.
A crash hawk. Have you ever flown on one of those?
Sounds like a flying machine, yeah. Yeah, sounds like a flying machine of some sort. I mean, and kavod sounds like a chariot. In fact, the glory of God and the chariot of God, everybody who's got a car knows it's its glory to a certain extent. That's really pretty much your chariot.
Maybe it was like the
Airwolf.
Yeah, Airwolf. Come back here tomorrow with your Airwolf. I'll burn everybody with my
just
Airwolf.
brainstorming around some quirkiness of the Bible.
Yeah,
but otherwise,
it's a telephone game, man.
literally, you can
It's a
find a lot of
2,000-year-old
stuff
telephone game.
if you follow it literally. Guys, what's the story with Bob from Globebusters? Why was he toe tagged?
Because he doesn't understand the scientific method?
Thread.
Yeah, I read. I mean, I sort of heard the story. What was it? Quantum Eraser that had a beef with it.
Yep.
Was it?
Yep. Kiwi toe tagged him, and he said he'll never deal with him
Yeah,
again.
but I think it's more a misunderstanding than anything else, to be quite honest with you.
Not really. When you describe the IV-DV relationship as all that bullshit, it's pretty clear
No,
where
I
you
know
stand.
Bob was very clumsy in the way he formulated his objection. But if you want, I mean, and I don't want to play authority or anything, but I'm a professional translator. I've got a degree and I've been doing that for 30 years. So trying to understand between the lines and nuances and semantics is a bit what I've done all my life. And in my view, it's my opinion, then I can be wrong. And I'm not Bob, so I don't know exactly what he thinks. But if you talk about the scientific method, exactly the way you've described, with an experiment and an independent variable that you can correlate to an effect, and you can independently measure the variation and so on, it's perfect. It's actually the pinnacle of evidence. And once you've got that repeatable in various lab, in various positions on Earth and so on, you pretty much have got yourself a law. But before you get to that actual law, you need to be able to follow a speculative process, which starts with hypotheses.
Objection, Your Honor. That's not a law. You were going,
Okay,
you were
what is
rolling
it then?
good, but once you went to the law, you were incorrect.
Okay, but
Natural laws.
tell me why. What is it then if it's not a law?
Yeah, it's just scientific theory. The end result of the scientific method is a scientific theory. Natural laws never enter the scientific method.
You see, that's where I've got a hard problem. I've heard that before, because in my view, a theory, it's an unproven law. I mean, what you do
your
in
first
science,
problem is no. Your first problem is what you think, because it doesn't have anything to do with what you think. It's what it is. A scientific theory provides the cause and the mechanism, and it's validated by experiment. You don't have a theory unless it's a scientific theory unless it's validated by experiment. Laws like the second law of thermodynamics don't go through the scientific method because there is no cause and effect relationship. And easily proven, what's the cause of entropy? That's a ridiculous question. It's malformed. Natural laws do not go through the scientific method. Thanks.
I'll just verbalize that. So if you were to say, what is the cause of hot flowing to cold always? The question is malformed. Do you appreciate that?
What is the cause of? Say again for me.
So if I say, what is the cause of hot flowing to cold always? What's the cause of that? Well, my question would be malformed.
It's a natural property. I agree with you. It's a natural property of the interaction between materials.
Why is it malformed? Can you explain? I don't understand why it's
He's just
malformed.
answered. You interrupted the end of him concisely explaining exactly why. Do you want to repeat yourself again? Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
No, I was saying it's indeed a natural cause of properties which have materials when they are of different temperatures. The heat tends to flow between the hot towards the cold. It's a natural effect, indeed.
Right, but that's what natural laws are. So natural laws are describing exactly what you observe occurring always, and if they don't occur always, they're not natural laws. Whereas a theory is the end result of multiple adherences, if that's the right word, to the scientific method. So for example, you could end up with a theory of plant growth, and you would establish through experimentation individual causes of any given effect that you observe, and after you have done multiple variants on a particular specialist field, i.e. plant growth, you would, through experimentation and validated causal relationships, then build the theory of plant growth based on the experimental outcomes. Does that make sense?
All you say makes sense. It's just in my head, and I'm a bit into a Mandela effect here, because in my head, and both in French and Italian and Spanish, a theory it's a set of hypotheses which are structured into a scaffolding model, but they don't already have experiments done, as far as I understand.
Wrong. That's incorrect.
Well,
A theory is validated by experiment.
No,
A colloquial
I've got to stop you,
theory.
John. You're wrong as well. So there is
What?
there's two different. Hold on. There's two different uses of this word. Colloquially, then you've got the term meaning an idea, like Holmes and Watson have a theory, but we're talking about a specific area, which is science. So although John didn't specifically mention it, we are contextualized within science, so he doesn't need to. So it's unfair for me to say he's wrong. He's not, because we are immediately contextualized around science. So when we say theory here in this conversation, we absolutely mean scientific theory, which is very specific. It's based on the outcome of experimentation, not colloquially, which could mean an idea. Same goes for hypothesis. If we're talking science, we're talking about IV-DV relationships. If you're talking colloquially, then, you know, it's the same for experiment. You could talk about jumping over ramps and say you're experimenting with your BMX. Well, that's not contextualized around science. But this conversation definitely is. So when we say theory here, it definitely, in this context, means the outcome of experimentation. And what was the other one? I've forgotten what it is now.
Hypothesis.
Hypothesis, right. When we say hypothesis here, we absolutely mean scientific prediction.
Just for the record, while you were rumpusing me, I was going over the colloquial theory.
My bad. I wanted to steal your thunder, and I did.
You both rumpused me because I wanted to say it, so damn you both.
You were right down the audio pecking order, as it was. Chocolate.
Okay, guys. Okay, so I mean,
hold on the one. Just let him respond, and then you can go next. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to say that, I mean, in the way I would do it as a professional, when I don't understand the word, and here we've got like some sort of discussion. You guys are talking about a very specific definition, which I understand. In my view, it would be different. So what would be the sources to try to understand? Obviously, first the dictionaries. That would be the very first way to go about. And I wouldn't trust one dictionary. I would trust 3 or 4, and then trying to figure out what they say, each and every one. Well, yes, and the second step would be, indeed, there is a registry. There could be a registry difference, like you said. There is a theory for Sherlock Holmes, and there is a theory for Albert Einstein, which is, ironically, it's actually interesting to mention.
No, Albert Einstein never proposed a scientific theory in his life.
I
Call
know,
it a theory, but it's not a theory. Get that correct. That's where you'll go off the rails.
No, I'm in crisis because I was very happy to think that evolution was a theory, which was an improvement.
Hold on, we've surpassed your first point, which needs to be addressed if this is going to stay on the rails. So you said, do we just go to the dictionary? Well, no, not immediately, no, because you've got to first establish the context of the discussion that's being had. And in this instance...
Well, then we need to talk about collocation. Indeed,
precisely.
You're right.
Exactly.
Dictionary is outside the... Sorry?
Well, I'm agreeing. Exactly. You first qualify the terms that you're going to go and define. So to just go up to any dictionary and pull out the random, it might have multiple definitions for that particular word. Let's say hypothesis. It might give the colloquial and the scientific definition. But once you've contextualized the conversation that's being had, you can then go and look up the definition within that context. Because yes, things do have multiple definitions, but in this particular instance, my point is that it's contextualized around science. And John's done the same exact, Quantum Erasers just done the exact same thing when it came to talking about Einstein. Well, he's going to be talking in his context of his science. Well, no, pseudoscience, unfortunately, has not established his theory through systematic experimentation.
Not even a theory.
Well, exactly, it's not then a theory. It's not a theory, but he's talking in context of science now, isn't he? So we can call it pseudoscience because it is, because of the assertions that are made alongside it. Many of them with their own disclaimers about pseudo mediums, like space-time. So the declaration of pseudo is there from Einstein's own lips in these regards. It's definitely not a scientific theory, is the point.
But you see, when I look and I know it's out of context, but I've got some. First of all, we are making our own life difficult. Second, I think this is a drift that qualifies as a drift of meaning, because the theory, and they keep saying that in the dictionary. I'm looking at 2 or 3 dictionaries. You want me to read it or?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't mind defining these terms after the fact.
Because they always differentiate theory as something which has to do with principle and concepts as opposed to empirical evidence. That's what I see in 2 or 3 dictionary. Okay.
Sorry. Just before you go on.
On the Merriam.
Sorry, just before you go on. Did you say I didn't hit the 2 words? The what and what evidence? You'll have to repeat the last 2 words you said.
Empirical. Apologies.
Yeah, I did hear it. Well,
yeah, you did. I heard it.
Yeah. Carry on.
Let's just go very quickly through what I see, and then we can start. And that's just the dictionary level. Then you've got all the collocation bit, which is what you're talking about, which is actually the word inserted in this context. And with the collocation, if indeed we have citation but who is to be trusted? That's the problem. The citation coming from science, they have a political reason, and you know that they do things because of philosophy. They don't do things because of science, really. So if they started to call theory and to give theory a certain status of something which is empirically proved, which is not my perception of the word, they have a reason, because in the same way they are just taking the mickey, saying the earth is round because they know it's in fact round, but not spherical. In my view, they are pushing a drift of meaning here with theory. That's my theory.
No,
that's your theory.
Well, it's not your definition. Yeah, you're right, John. But there was one word in there, we highlighted it when you said it, which was empirical. Now, what is it that lends empiricism?
Well, practical experiment.
Right, exactly.
But listen, Nathan, listen to that. So Merriam-Webster first meeting, plausible or scientifically acceptable general principle or body of principles offered to explain a phenomena.
It's pretty accurate.
That's the first definition of Merriam-Webster. I just took them randomly. I'm not. This one is dictionary.com. First definition: coherent group of tested general propositions. So this one actually gives you. It says you're right. Commonly regarded as correct, that can be used as principles of explanation and prediction for a class of phenomena. Man, you know what? I wish I had my old dictionary, the one that was printed on paper, and look at theory, because you know what? I don't even start not to trust even websites now.
You have to you started at the wrong spot. You needed to start at natural science. Then remember, context is first. Then go to theory.
And here, you in the free dictionary, I've got same thing as a set of statements of principles devised to explain a group of facts or phenomena, especially one that has been repeatedly tested or is widely accepted and can be used to make predictions about natural phenomena. Okay, that's weird. That's only the first definition. Eh? Then the second, it's branch of science that consists in explanatory statements, accepted principles, and methods of analysis, as opposed to practice. Fucking hell, here we've got a second opposing definition. A third set of theorems.
Where was that one from? Sorry to interrupt. Where was that last definition from?
That's the freedictionary.com/theory.
I didn't hear it again. Which dictionary.com?
The Free Dictionary, in one word.
Free Dictionary, okay.
The freedictionary.com.
Did we skip context? Is my mic working?
No, we haven't. It's been stated. There wasn't an acknowledgement, but you know, just a continuation of the various different definitions. But I said I was happy to do that after the fact, and he has. So there's nothing to address.
I'm sorry, I missed that part that you were happy to skip context. Okay, that's fine.
It's not skipping context. It's just after that context had been given, he was like, "Do you mind if I actually now go through and pull through, go through the definitions?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't mind doing it after the fact." But the point's still been made. It's not like it's been left out there.
Okay.
So okay, well then the collocation, we need to find sources, but I can almost bet that the older the source will be, the more theory will be a set of theoretical explanation, like theoretical physics, that does no empirical science or very little. Now they're trying to blow up the Alps apparently, but apart from that, it's theoretical physics. It's in theory, in concepts, in mathematics, but it's opposed to empirical, which once repeatable, although still falsifiable, because that's the open spirit of science that leaves always a door for falsifiability.
No,
Yes,
no,
but
wrong. That falsifiability is built into hypothesis. It's called the null hypothesis. So it's only falsifiable
falsifiability
up
is
until the
built
point.
in the hypothesis.
Yeah.
Man,
Say again?
even if I'm wrong, you might want to brush up on your social skills. Okay, I might be wrong, but you've got other ways of saying that without annoying everybody.
Yeah, I do lack social graces. You're right. Thanks for pointing them out.
Yeah, but what?
No, I'm just mentioning it because
Sure,
But
but
hey,
well, just to keep it back
yeah,
on track. So this is
so
back to the word empirical. So that falsifiability is inherent in the hypothesis because you have two sides to it, and one or other will be falsified in the experiment. So the null being the polar opposite of what you've predicted the cause of the effect is. So if you say if X, then Y, then in your null hypothesis, if X, not Y. In other words, at the end of the experimentation process, you either validate the alternative or you validate the null. And in so doing, you invalidate the alternative if you have validated the null. The only thing I'll add to that is you don't directly test the null. So you're not directly testing to invalidate. You are producing a supposition, your supposed cause of the effect, and then validating it, or invalidating your presumed cause and therefore validating the null. But that by its nature gives you the empirical result. It's not that the result is left open to be falsified. You have a valid experiment once you establish the cause of the effect. Now, the reason this is going to take a little bit longer, please bear with me. The reason you will find multiple definitions is because if you are the person that needs to hijack an empirical method to make a just so story easy to change in the future, then you would suggest that science leaves itself open to falsification after the fact, when in reality, as just described, the method itself is that empiricism. It is the falsification in the process, not the end result. But if you're going to make up a story about something that you haven't validated or have any empirical evidence for, it's very useful to leave it in the minds of the person that you're communicating whatever bullshit you're putting out, that you could find a different result later in the future when someone comes along and undoes your just so story. So, in essence, many pseudo-scientists, the ones that don't have empiricism, will suggest that science leaves itself open to falsification, when in reality what they mean is, I'm a pseudo-scientist, I don't have any empirical data, and if I need to change my story in the future, I'll rearrange my pseudoscience because pseudoscience is open to change in the future. Science, however, isn't. It's empirical. Sorry for the long explanation.
No, you did the right thing because you've given me kind of a lot of material to rebound on, and in fact, what you've done is talking strategy, and that's exactly the reason actually I came and talked, because I think we are just, although you may be 100% right, I think we are nevertheless enclosing ourselves into a dead alley, and it's been 5 years. Pardon me. It's been 5 years. I followed this all these discussions about flat Earth, and I realized that there was an announcement just before that we are going to talk about Coriolis next. I am, to be quite honest with you, a bit bored of always repeating the same 200 Earth proofs we've seen over and over again, and I would like to progress in a model. Now, if the status of the evidence, or at least to build a scaffold of a potential model, we need to go through, and to be quite honest, the model I have, it's kind of, I can back it up with experiments on Earth, which are repeatable and done in every secondary school, basically. But the burden of the proof being so heavy, it's actually difficult to even extrapolate a model. Like you were talking, I don't know who you were talking to about the container. And obviously the logic brings you to imply the container. But you say, no, but I don't want to think there is a container because I don't know about it. Obviously, if I have to be 100% objective, all I know is that at the very least, we're not on a globe of the size we're told because distance doesn't match. But that's really the only objective evidence I have. However, contextually, I've got so many evidences, in my view, to think that we could have a sphere like a Van de Graaff generator around us, and the Earth could be acting like a galvanic cell because there is electrolyte, because there is a soul bridge, because you've got a nanode, because you've got a cathode. And I like to imagine a model in my head comparing it to effects I can observe on Earth, whether they are man-made effect or natural effect. Actually, I wouldn't get stuck on natural effect because nature is not showing us much unless we know how to look at it, from what I understand. And that brings me on to the second thing, falsifiability. The way
wait, it's the one that lacks social graces that I want to stop you before you get to the second point.
Okay,
your first point had model in it a number of times. Have you been keeping up to date with the flat Earth debate?
A little bit, yes.
Models are pseudo science and they're reification.
That's exactly what I mean when I'm saying you guys are enclosing yourself in a dead alley.
Oh, really?
Because
how so?
Yes, because when it comes to talking about Earth, you will not be able to reproduce it, at least not in its volume. So you can reproduce small miniatures of that. Modeling can be useful when you have enough parameters for the model to be realistic and not to be invalidated, because that's how I see it. And I can give you an example, which is a practical
No, I
example.
want you to define it. I don't want an
Say again?
example. I want you to define a model. Is it a runway model?
A model
is it a computer
is a
model?
conceptualization.
Is it?
I'm defining it.
It's Mr. Lacking social graces skills. I wasn't done yet. Is it a computer model? Is it a airplane model? Is it an economics model?
Okay.
A runway model?
Mm-hmm.
What model are you talking about, sir? Over.
Yes, I'm going to precise that. The tool you use to calculate the points of your model is independent from the model. The model can be made on a piece of paper with a
Still haven't defined it.
munching.
Sorry, it's Mr. Lack social graces again. I want you to define a model.
Yes, so I was about to do it. A
do
model
it then.
Is a conceptualization of reality.
Well, that has nothing to do with science. Is that a scientific model? You got a citation for me?
Listen.
I am.
Listen. You are too used to deal with globers, okay? So, first of all, I'm not a glober. That's the very first thing. And second, if that's what Bob from Globebusters was criticizing you for.
Sure.
It was because you will not allow other people to try to work at a model, which can go through a brainstorming of absolute crap because we've been drinking vodka and talking shit.
Hey, Nathan, can we get him to define a model at some point? Thanks.
I mean, maybe if I phrase it with your own words.
It's a conceptualization, is a logical, pardon me, Nathan. It's a logical construct. It's a reduced reality in points that you can calculate. That's a model.
But it isn't. That would be reification if you're going to say that it's representative of reality when it isn't.
Well, it's as good. Okay, indeed. Obviously, the module is only as good as it's built. So that's why any model is open to falsification if I am able to bring new elements to the model that will change the result or the outcome of the parameters.
But
allow me to give you an example.
John's question to you is, what kind of model are you talking about? And earlier you said that they were useful. Maybe if I've rephrased that and say, well, useful for what? What kind of model are you referring to? Or what use would it have? Therefore, defining what type of model it is.
One that I know a little bit because I've worked on it is molecular modeling. Now, when you need to understand the affinity between certain chemicals and molecules, you and why? Because sometimes certain medicine needs to be delivered onto the specific receptors, and therefore you don't have to dose them as much. You will try to understand which are the molecules which are affine to certain chemicals in order
Is this a
for them to
sign?
be able
I'm
to carry them
sorry, it's
through
the
the
one with
bloodstream.
lacking social graces. Define which model that you're talking about. Remember, I gave you the
Molecular
choices.
modeling.
Right.
Molecular modeling. The modeling of interaction between molecules and chemicals.
You're being very specific right now. I want a definition of a scientific model. Because I don't want a toy model.
Definition of a scientific model is a logical conceptualization of, it's an attempt to reproduce reality according to the parameters you know of it.
Okay.
So obviously you will isolate
deals...
everything you don't know of the
Here
model.
we go. Okay, the scientific method deals with cause and effect relationships. How does your model deal with cause and effect relationships, please?
My man, you cannot forbid me to do modeling if I want to try to understand stuff, okay? As much as you cannot forbid somebody to think the earth is flat, you cannot forbid people to think, because that's what you're doing here.
No worries, no one's stopping you from modelling, right? Some people like to make model railways, right? And the purpose of making a model railway is for entertainment, for the joy of doing it, right? But we're just trying to ascertain what its use is. You started off by saying they're useful. What for? What's the use of this model that you want to build? What's the purpose? What's it going to be useful for?
The purpose, okay, I can answer that. The purpose of the model is to be able to understand certain marginal behaviors and characteristics of whatever it is you're studying, and that you're not going to be able to study on the object itself. And Earth, it's exactly that, because we cannot get outside of Earth. We cannot study it the way we want. We cannot weight it. We cannot measure it, not properly. And there is a lot of things we are kept from doing on Earth. So if you want to maybe trying to understand a bit better in a global approach, you will have to model. I think it's a bit dogmatic to say that modeling is useless. And I resent the fact that those guys have used model in every sauce and in every salad. And now you guys have a sort of psychological reticence to say, oh, yes. Why? Because they've been obviously making models, but that was just smoke screens. Those are not real models. Models tend to reflect reality as good as they can. If they build poorly, they will reflect reality poorly.
No, they don't.
In their case, they build on nonsense and on impossibilities, and they don't reflect anything. Sorry,
Hello?
go ahead.
That's a fallacy. That's reification. Models are not reality. We don't live on a model. But my question is, so you said behaviours, certain behaviours. You're trying to study certain behaviours. By behaviours, do you mean certain effects that we observe?
Yes, to try to make sense of it.
So you see a certain effect, you see an occurrence, and you want to know why that's happening, the cause of it, in essence.
And I want to understand the
is that yes or no?
of certain causes.
Is that yes? You've got these certain behaviours / effects, and you're trying to figure out what causes them, and you're going to go forth to model to try and explain that, correct?
Why not?
Because there's already an established method that's empirical for doing just that. It's called the scientific method.
Nathan. Let's say I want to brainstorm about flat Earth. So the all of my brainstorm is invalidated because of what? If I say the flat Earth looks to me like a galvanic cell because it has every single component of a galvanic cell. Why am I being unscientific? I am correlating effects and the presence of similar materials both on Earth and on all the examples of galvanic cells we have on Earth. Why is it unscientific when I correlate that?
Yeah,
and there is in fact a cause
another
and an
panel
effect
member said it over the top of you, took the words out of my mouth. So
go ahead.
Yeah, correlation is not causation.
Well, if it's quantifiable and measurable, and if it varies in a marginal way according to a variable I can work on, yes.
Yep,
but again, I won't be able to vary the salinity of water of the whole sea, so I will have to just try to reproduce that effect into a smaller contained environment. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, that's the scientific method. That's isolating variables. That's the method I'm talking about. You're talking about just making a model.
It's called
A model
modeling.
that you
when you do
that
an
you talk all
experiment,
over
it's
me while I
modeling.
detail. So you're talking about creating a model and extrapolating from that model correlation with reality. In essence, reification. What I'm saying is, if you want to,
no, Nathan.
if you want to find out the cause of behaviors, as you put it, then there's a method that's empirical, and at the end you can assert with absolute certitude the cause of some effects that you then base on that useful information going forward. But if you base it on a correlation with your model, that's not empirical. It could be proven wrong. Well, that's where we're in the mess we're in now, with people who don't adhere to the scientific method, that have behaviours that they want to give an explanation for, and they just go forth and make models and use them to explain. Well, that's when you end up on a spinning ball flying through a vacuum, because people have made models.
Exactly.
I mean, nobody's saying to not build a model. You know, if you want to try and do that, that's fine. I would think you can do whatever you want.
Exactly.
Right, but we're just trying to find out what. All right, so what are we going to use that model for? What's the intention behind the model? Just to represent, and it can be real, but the model isn't reality itself.
Precisely. Well said. And with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who have tuned in to this premiering stream on the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel. Hopefully you've smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. And if you're needing something to keep you occupied after the premiering stream is over, I'll get my words out properly, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Another massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this live and after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!